What's going on, everybody? Wait a little bit. Why people kind of filter in. Say, welcome back. Another Tuesday. It's a bit cool today, though, for sure. So what I'm doing is one, trying to remember what I did last time, to be honest. But on these bigger knives, I'll have about where this point is, right here. I'll have it taper back just a little bit. I don't know if you can even see it on here. Yeah, it'll kind of taper back on this point to about here, and then I'll have this radius come in. So that's what I'm trying to do, but I'm trying to remember kind of dimensionally what sizes I had those at last time, because the first time I did them they looked really good, but I don't remember now. So it's been a hot minute. So that's what I'm trying to do, but I have another one that I will be working on today that I'll be shaping the handle. So, but I figured I'd wait for some people to get in here first before I did any of that. So. Give everybody a minute to kind of filter in. So I'm just gonna put a rough line on here. Hey, we got a couple people. What's going on, everybody? Just trying to lay out some lines here for a little bit. Wait for people to kind of filter in, but I got some handle shaping to do today, so I thought I'd bring everybody along with me. What am I doing? So what I'm doing here is I got all these handles kind of basically blocked out with the profile, and I'm trying to lay out some lines, like trying to lay out some lines. You can see that there's a little bit of a taper there, so that when I go to start grinding these, I got some lines and some references to grind to. So the first thing I'll do is grind these shoulders off and take off these corners on these here, and then I'll kind of chamfer some of these edges around, and then I'll put some big radiuses in here. It'll look good when it's done. But like I said, I'm trying to remember kind of the sizes roughly that I had, because I really liked the way that it looked the last time I did it. But I don't exactly remember. So, and I'm giving my camera needs time to charge too, so that's what I'm doing here. But I say it's been a little bit of time since I've done one of these. So up towards the top, how long did it take me to get that far? Honestly, I don't know, because I do these in batches. Here, I'll show you when that's done. So I finished this one up yesterday. It's the small little petty knife. So here's the little guy. This is the smallest of them all. And I did a real simple handle on this one. It's just nice and smooth. Nothing real complicated. But, which is what I'm gonna do on this one. So I got this one laid out. So I wanna go from here to here and kind of show you how I do that. But if I had to say, I don't know. I honestly don't know how long it takes me to do any of this, and I probably don't want to know. Yeah, that's my little paring knife. This is here is a little bit bigger. It's like a little like a petty knife, a little bit bigger. And then I got the three big guys over here. Yeah, got the big ones over here that I'm trying to lay out a little bit. So, so what I do, because it gets kind of loud in there, so I'll explain that a little bit. I have all these lines laid out on this knife. And so from this line to this line, basically if you look in the back, what we're doing is going to be knocking these corners all off. And it's going to create that initial radius, I guess you would say. It's a chamfer, but contour, that's what I'm thinking. The initial contouring, so that when we come to shape everything else, it's a lot easier. And it's easier to see when it's kind of blocky, the way things line up. Once you start contouring it's a lot harder to tell when things are off. But when they're chamfered like that, it's super easy. So, hands are cold. All right, you guys ready to see me actually do something besides talking? I'm gonna get my respirator on. See how dirty it got last time? It's like, just like sticks to it. So if you got some questions, let me know. Put them in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer them as we go. So, y'all ready? So we'll start with this one, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So on the last knife that I did, I had this angle already set. So I'm going to see how this one looks. And what I'm looking at is I'm looking at these two lines that I got referenced on here. And if it starts to grind faster towards this line than this line, I'll tilt this table farther back so that it'll push it up and start grinding towards this line and this line equally at the same time. So that's what I'm looking for. I don't know where it's going to go, but we'll give it a try and see what it looks like. So you can see already that it's grinding towards this line a lot faster than it's grinding towards this one. So I'm just going to change that angle a little bit and see if we can't get it a little better. So to use as a reference, I'll use this magnetic angle here. And it just gives me a reference of what degrees it is to see how far I change it. So I went from 59 degrees to 63. So we'll try it again and see what it looks like. I can already tell where that looks better. But it looks like it needs to go just a little bit more. So it might need to go just a few more degrees. All right, there we go. And you can see that's what we want right there. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but this is just kind of a reference of what I'm looking for. Right about that line, right about that line. So everything is where we want it right there. Well, that was pretty good. Look at it from the front, look at it from the back. I can tell
on this side here that I'm going a little bit deeper. Alright, so now on this side over here, on this side over here, I'll start over here and I'll just grind those little sections right here, and then I'll start you and kind of shape it like this. So. See on this back end how it's kind of creating this well, that side there looks pretty good. Now I'll do the other side. Kind of look at it. Pop it down to there. Okay, so this side's just a little bit higher, so I'll take just a little bit off this side over here. Okay, that looks pretty good there. Alright, so we'll take a little break.
Ugh. So, hopefully y'all were able to see what I was doing there. Got my knuckle though. Does anybody have any questions about what I did? Let me know. You guys are being super quiet today. So from here, I like to shape them actually by hand, and it honestly doesn't take that long. So. Okay. So. I had to shim this last time. Like I said, if anybody's got any questions about what I did, let me know. But from here, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can take it. You can do this all on the grinder. Sometimes I just like to do it by hand. So when I'm doing this, here, let me show. When you don't want to look at me. When I'm doing this, I like to start on like the spine and the backside first, and I'll radius these. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking this chamfer here and this chamfer here, and I'll blend them until I come basically to where the steel is, and that's where I'll stop. So I'll let you guys hang out over here, and I'll do that. And then when I get to a point where I'm getting close, I'll show you what it looks like. But honestly, I need it to charge too. So when you get on this underside here, I'll go to a lot thinner strips just because it's easier to get in those radiuses. But on top here, I can just go with a somewhat big piece. So I'm just kind of using this shoe shine here. Already that chamfer's knocked down. So right here you can see it's radiused, and right here it's still square. So as I do this and as I progress on, it'll start looking like that other one that I had. And once I get the base established, you're really just kind of moving up the grits. Where'd that piece go? Did I drop it? Oh, I lost my sandpaper. Oh, here it is. Yeah, once you get the base established, you're just kind of moving up the grits. So, it doesn't take that long by hand, and sometimes when I'm doing a lot of these, I just take a break from the grinding room and just kind of do some of it by hand. It's a little bit slower, but honestly, it keeps you from making some mistakes sometimes. So the grinder's nice, but you can also make a lot of mistakes really fast. So, and honestly, I'll sit around and I'll watch a movie or something while I do this usually. But, man, you guys are being awfully quiet today. Can you hear me? Yes or no? Somebody give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Because I muted myself a couple weeks ago while I was doing this. So, if you like what I'm doing, I do this every week, about 4 o'clock on Tuesdays. But you know, sometimes I just jump on here randomly throughout the week. I'll say I'm working every week, every day, most days. But Tuesdays I try to go live, hang out with you guys, answer your questions, just show you what I'm doing. But I'll say this is my YouTube. I have an Instagram, a website, blowertknives.com. You can check out everything I got available. But I work on a lot of different projects. So if you don't like kitchen knives, I make some EDC knives. Like I got this little prototype I do. Just a lot of different stuff. I finished up a batch of these not that long ago. This is my honey badger. So what's that? So I got a couple of those up on the website still from the last batch I did, but that kind of stuff, mostly that was loud. Kitchen knives and PDCs and outdoors kind of stuff. That's what I like to focus on. So if you like what I do, give me a follow, and you can see what I've been doing. Or you can just come hang out on Tuesdays. Either way, you know. you got questions, throw them in there, man. It makes the chat way more exciting. We got 88 people in here and nobody has a question. Everybody's just watching. That's fine. That's cool. Sometimes I feel like I get people from other countries and maybe they don't know English. I don't know. It makes it hard to communicate, I guess. I would think so. So I almost have this back of this spine finished up already. Yeah, once you get out here on the end a little bit sometimes, especially with these center blades, they start flexing more. So you gotta be aware of that. You don't get as much progress, I guess. Man, my hands are cold today. Okay. Man, you guys are all awfully quiet today, I'll say that. Yeah, I used to sit here and do this for hours. When I worked another job, I had basically like a night shift job. Well, swing shift, so I'd have to stay up all night. And I would get all these lined up and ready to hand finish. I guess that's why I like doing them by hand so much. What you making? I am shaping some handles. I said, I just got done grinding it and explaining everything that I was working on. Here, let me bring you in a little bit. You don't want to see me though, I know. So I just got done roughing all this out on the grinder and just doing a little hand finishing just because it's quieter. I can explain more what's going on. But you can see here I have my lines that I laid out, and I roughed all this out on the grinder and explained what I was doing. And so now I'm just kind of transitioning from roughing in to kind of lay out my final contours. As you'll notice, all this is nice and contoured now. So when I get that done on these ones, on these little knives, because they all stay kind of small, I don't go super crazy with them. But yeah, you get this nice contoured. They're kind of slim, and I kind of like that. But this is the small Perry knife, and this is a like a petty knife. So they get this kind of simple contouring on here for my design. But then on the big guys, I say big guys, the bigger knives I got, like this is my big chef's knife. Well, let me show this other one. Oh dang, which one do I got laid on? I've been trying to lay all these out. It'll kind of have a chamfer back to where this center point is, and then I'll have these nice swells kind of on both sides, but it'll kind of taper down and get thinner here. So this back end will be a little bit smaller, just so that your weight kind of stays more central. But I really like the way that looks. So I've been doing that here lately with those. So that's about where I've been. But I'm just saying, whether I finish these on the grinder or I finish them by hand, it really doesn't make a difference. But I lay everything out the same, and it just gives me a good reference when I'm grinding. Especially, you can see on the back, everything is easier to keep it even when you start out with these lines than if you just went straight into contouring. So it just makes it a little bit even. Does that make sense? Once you've done a couple of these, it makes sense, because you can kind of get lost. It's not necessarily you get lost as much as if everything is round, it's hard to tell where things line up at, versus if it's sharp, straight corners like it is here. It's a lot easier to tell when something's off. Yeah, man. Like I said, I got several videos where I talk about it and different things. Some handles I like to be simple. Like this is a very simple knife handle, because it is so small. It's like a 3-finger, so this finger is gonna fall off basically. But that's why it's got a lanyard right here. So on this one, I don't want a complicated design for a handle, because if I have it in my hand or you have it in your hand, we have different size hands, probably. Let's just say we do. Where this one is for a customer, and it's a lot bigger. So these two fit up in your hand when you're got your pinch grip for cooking. Even with the big hands or small hands, it's still pretty comfortable. And even if you I don't know what you're doing like this, if you're, I guess, pushing on a chicken or something, like trying to cut through it, the design it looks good is mostly what it is, because the front half of a chef's knife, basically this is the only part that's important in a chef's knife. So this whole back end is just more style, because when you have these front angles, obviously this is not going to be this big when I'm done with it, but your pinch right there, you back right up into these angles and it just locks you in. So you pinch it with your thumb and your pointer finger. And a lot of people, they might grip a knife like this. So I'm getting off topic here, but you might grip a knife like this when you pick it up, and it feels good, and it does feel good like this. But like with a chef's knife, you pinch it like this, because when you're cutting, especially a knife that's maybe needs to be touched up a little bit and is dull, if you're pinching it like this, you have a lot more control over the knife like this when you're cutting through something, versus if you hold it on here, it can roll, like it can push off and cut something, especially if you're cutting something dense like a sweet potato or carrots or something like that. But if you're pinching it, you have a lot more control. So those pinches up here, your fingers wrap around, and then you have all this leverage. But this back here, this is more just style and counterweight. That's why it kind of all just tapers backwards. A lot of my other knives, if you look at them from the back end, maybe harder to tell here, but you'll notice that from here to here, it kind of is thinner up here and it tapers out slightly this way. And I say it might be harder to tell on here, but that's because when you're using it, you're cutting, your hand is going this direction and the knife is being, the force is being cut is pushed in the opposite, which wants to pull out of your hand. So by having that taper in there, locks into your hand, and also it has these little swells in here. This one's hard to tell on the carbon fiber, but it allows you to get up there, so it, when you're cutting, it doesn't allow it to cut out. Yeah, there's a lot of things that maybe you don't, I won't say you don't, but when it comes to ergonomics and geometry, that little things make a big difference, and it's hard sometimes to design a handle for one person and it worked for another person. Here, these ones you can tell a little bit easier. It's got these swells that kind of come up in here. Yeah, you can see it. Some handle materials just don't allow to, especially on camera. Exactly, it just locks. Yeah, different lights. It just allows your hand to lock in there, but you can kind of see it right there. So this right here is your back fingers come in, and then your fingers just kind of suck up in there. And then I say you still got room for a little lanyard on these, but this one was designed completely different, for a different purpose. It has a lot of cutting length on it, as far as like here all the way around. It's only like a 3-inch blade, but it cuts like a bigger knife than it is. But the handle is a little bit more compact than a full-size thing, but it's got a full-size blade on it, I guess you could say. So even though I have big hands and this was technically a 3-finger knife, I can get, the way the handle is, I can get 4 fingers on it. Like, even though my hand is technically off the handle, it wraps around here and sucks up in there. And if you put a lanyard on it, it gives you even more leverage. So there's just a lot of things like that when it comes to ergonomics of handles and things that you may not realize why something feels better than something else, but you just know this one feels better than this one. You might not be able to articulate why. But I say I've been doing this for a long time, so I've noticed these things, and that's why from one design or another design, I start adding all these other things to it to ultimately try to make it better. None of us are perfect, but if you can learn something and take it and apply it to something else, then I guess that's better than not being able to do that. There are people that are good at making knives, but aren't very good at designing knives. So there are some really good knife makers, but their designs aren't necessarily that great. They're good at fit and finish, I guess. And I'm not saying that like my designs are the best, but I can explain why I designed something the way I designed it. Like this one here, I screwed up. I screwed it up bad. I was trying to do these compound grinds on this one. This was the first one I did, and I screwed it up. And so I learned what not to do, and I learned a lot. See, you can see how those are, and then it's got this kind of thick wedge on the front of it. Yeah. But the design of this one is, you can see it's got this little swell right here, and then it's got another swell, and then it's got a point. This swell right here is like if you're cutting, say you're cutting a pencil, sharpening a pencil. This first inch of this blade is directly where your finger is, so it allows you to get a lot of leverage in cutting. Makes sense. Same as this, like if you turn this upside down and say you gotta, I don't know, stab it into a log so you can like split something. I don't know, you know, it's comfortable even upside down. I don't use it that way, but some people might need to use it that way. And then the same as if, well, this design here was gonna have like a sharpened swedge on both sides, but I never finished this one. I have it still up here because I like the pattern, even though I messed it up. You know, this allows you to have this point right here that's not radius, that gives you a good index. So on a lot of my designs anyways, there's a reason why it looks the way it does. Because obviously this is way too thick, but ooh, that fell down. But if I have it on the, especially where these angles come in, same with the way the kitchen knives are, if I'm out in the woods or something and I'm needing to, especially like I like to skin animals or a deer or something like that, I don't like the blade to be past where my finger is. So I can pinch it just like I'm doing with a kitchen knife, and my fingers rest right up on this wedge, and my finger where the point is. So wherever my finger is going is where that belly is too. So it's like an extension of where my hand is, and it rests right on my palm, rests right on there, rests right into there, and I can push right here and it pushes back into my hand. So I can put a lot of leverage on this. Plus, I'm just thinking about now, these where these fullers are, my thumb just rides right up into that. But I can put a lot of leverage on that radius right here, and that's why that radius is right where it is. For that reason is if you're cleaning or you're going something like that. So there's a lot of reasons why I do things. I can't explain everything whatever anybody else does, but I think that's important if you're going to do something or design something, whether it's a car or a house or something. There should be a reason why you did it. And if the only reason you did it is because, hey, I liked it and I thought it was cool, you know, that's fine. But sometimes people put stuff on things and they don't know why it's there. It's just there. I make a lot of functional knives. I don't do a whole lot of like high-end artsy stuff. So when I make something, it has to serve a purpose, and if something on the knife doesn't really serve a purpose, then I try to get rid of it. Now obviously there's some style that goes into anything, whether it's a shoe or a car or anything like that, but there has to be a limit. You can't just bedazzle everything, I guess, is what I'm saying. So, cool. Does that make sense? Hopefully you're still with me. So, that back is done with that 80 grit. So, when I flip it around, I'll say I like to do the spines first. I have found that by doing the spines first, I get, it's not flat, but this profile here, when I do the spine and the underside first, I get this roundness that I like, but then it also allows this radius, even though you can see it is a radius, it allows this section here to be a little bit more flat, kind of like skinny oval, skinny oval, so that it indexes. It doesn't want to roll in your hand. If I do these sides first, they get more rounded, and I like them to have a little bit more flat. So for the same reason as if, you know, if I'm pinching here and I'm, I don't know, cutting strawberries or something, it just indexes better as if I picked it up and put it in your hand and you were blindfolded, you could tell which way the point was or way the edge was by the way it was in your hand. And that to me is important. If you're working on something, whether it's a kitchen knife or anything, is you to be able to know just by the feel of the knife where the actual cutting edge is. So with these, with this bottom side, I tend to go a little bit narrower with the paper because the bottom side has a lot more radiuses and stuff in it, and it just allows me to get in there a little bit easier. So, any questions? Oh man, question. You seem like a master at your craft and put a lot of thought behind your hard work. You have passion. Thank you for teaching us what you could. I kept up with you. Lunchtime over though. God bless. Yeah, man, appreciate it. I say I'm here every Tuesday at 4 o'clock, which I guess is lunchtime for you. But yeah, thanks for dropping by. Appreciate the comments. I say subscribe or something like that, and you can catch all the videos and watch them later. But thank you. So the same thing back here is basically just kind of shaping away. But I can guarantee you thank you. I'm no master. I've just been doing this for a long time and made a lot of mistakes. And I try to learn something. Like I said, I learned from that one. I learned from a lot of other things. So I guess I'm not afraid to try something. If it doesn't work, I try to figure out why or what I can do different. And sometimes it might take me, you know, a month or two or even a year or so to get back around to it, or come up with a reason what I need to do different. So, but usually that's because I got something else going on. I say, like I got different orders or something. I don't have time to experiment. So, some of this is just, you know, trial and error. Some of it I've learned from other people, and some of it I've just learned on my own. So, you just gotta find out what works for you, I guess, is the best way to say that. So, that was a good question. Cold, rainy day today. So, I'm excited. I'm going to be eating some dinner here before too long. Thinking pizza. Pizza's always a good option. My kids like pizza, so. Everybody likes pizza. I think everybody likes pizza. Some people don't. I don't know. I feel like I'm just talking to myself now. Time is it? 5 o'clock? Yeah. So I guess now is a good time. I'll go. Tea people like pizza. You know, you can't trust British pizza though. That's the thing. you never know what they're gonna put in it. If they don't drink coffee, then I don't think you can trust their pizza. That's all I'm saying. They are not to be trusted. Yeah, I didn't know you had a YouTube, or you were at a YouTube, but you were on YouTube. Just everywhere, I guess. Maybe I need to make like a handle that's like infused with coffee. They probably make one. Just make coffee scented handles. I feel like everybody would want a coffee scented handle. I don't mind tea. I just don't like hot tea. I like green tea. That southern sweet tea is just too sweet. So this is getting pretty close on this side. The smell of coffee is wonderful. So a coffee handle would be cool. Yeah, I would have to say that some coffee, I don't want to say I don't like some coffee, but just the smell of coffee itself, it's like coffee, leather, and tobacco. Like I don't smoke or do any of that stuff, but just sometimes pipe tobacco, just the smell of pipe tobacco smells good. But like I have zero desire to do anything with it. But like I've been in tea shops, and tea shops just don't smell, they smell like flowers, I guess. They smell florally. They don't really smell, I don't know. But then I've been in like some roasters and they don't smell good. It's like there's so much coffee, it just smells like burnt coffee, I guess. Which is probably true. They probably get coffee stuck up under things and they probably get burnt, which is probably what happens. So. So we've gone for an hour. Let me pull this out. Show you what we got. So even though I've only basically done I've basically only done the outsides, you can already tell it's kind of taken shape. And even in the hand, it already feels really good. And I've thought about, and I've seen people do this too, where they leave it at this point and kind of leave these chamfers all the way around and just kind of clean them up. And I've thought about doing that with a couple designs. I've yet to do it, but I like the way it looks. But I won't do it with these, but maybe I'll try it with some other knives later on. But I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna go cook some dinner. But I appreciate everybody that stopped by today, and we will. I'll show you the one that I finished up yesterday. This is the smaller one. It's finished. So that's what we're shooting for. This one's got those two got pretty simple handles, but the other ones will be a little bit more complicated. But I will be back next week, Tuesday at 4 o'clock for anybody that's interested. Or I might just pop in and out throughout the week, but I'll catch y'all next week. Bye.